Good morning, gang. Happy Sunday morning. So, I'm going to run one by you this morning that is probably going to be controversial. Some of you are probably going to agree with me. Some of you are going to disagree with me. No question whatsoever on this one. And that's fine. I mean, what it is, I want you to think about it more than anything else because what I'm going to talk about is very important, very, very important today. But it's going to be critical if the balloon ever goes up. And that's trust. Okay. Now, there's a huge debate out there, on how you trust. Is trust something that's given, or is trust something that's earned? And I'm going to say it's a little of both. Okay. You think about it. Your next door neighbor wants let's just say this afternoon, okay? Your next door neighbor knocks on the door and says, "Hey, I want to borrow your lawnmower." And you go, "Okay, fine." You give him the keys to the lawnmower or whatever. You trust that he's going to bring it back in the same condition that he took it, right? But if he doesn't, which happens a lot, okay, we all know that. You loan tools and you never get them back. You don't trust the guy anymore, right? Next time he comes over and says, "Hey, can I borrow your chainsaw?" "Nah, I never saw my lawnmower last time. Don't trust you to bring it back." Okay. In that case, trust is kind of given, at the beginning. You gave him the trust to give him your lawnmower. But he didn't earn the trust for you to give him the chainsaw. You look at your marriage, okay, or if you're dating your significant other. You trust that person not to take all your money, not to cheat on you, do anything of the sort like that. And if they do that, you kick them to the curb. You gave them your trust. They didn't keep it. They didn't earn it. So you look at it in that respect, and a lot of times we give our trust to people without really having any basis to it. And then they fail to keep our trust. They fail to continually earn it. Trust isn't something you get one time and you have it forever. It's not like going to the store and buying a pack of hot dogs. You bought the pack of hot dogs and it's yours. The only way you're giving it up is if it disappears. Okay. Trust is kind of fluid in that respect. There are, safe to say, few people in my life I trust anymore. And I think as we get older, that becomes more and more common. You have a tendency to trust a lot more when you're younger. You get screwed over a lot. And as you get older, your spidey senses go up and you don't trust as easy. And you don't trust as many people. I mean, I can count on one hand the amount of people I have implicit trust in. Okay? But somebody coming over to borrow your lawnmower, borrow your chainsaw, I don't have to worry about dating, okay, is a pittance compared to what we have going on. We talk about mags all the time. Some people say, "I've got a large group, all my neighbors are together." Or some people say, "I'm going to stick with family," or, however you have it set up. How much do you trust those people? You trust them enough to feed them, all the hard work you've put up or done putting up food or growing it, or the money you've spent to accumulate it, or whatever. And you trust them, and they're going to come over in an SHTF event, and they're going to eat your food, and they're going to drink the water that you stored, and they're going to use the electricity that you had the foresight to be able to create, and whatever. And hopefully they're coming over and bringing something with. And a lot of times we like to say, well, as long as they bring some skills with, that's great. But how much do you trust them? Question, serious question, because this is something you really have to think about, because it could mean the difference between your life and death. Let's say it's a group of neighbors that you all decide you're going to get together, right? Do you trust your neighbors implicitly? 100%. If all of a sudden Antifa comes running down the street trying to burn down your house, are your neighbors going to be there to help stop it? Or are they going to stay back because they're afraid of getting hurt, or they're afraid of getting arrested, or something like that? How about if it's even worse? How about if we really go to shit, okay? And all of a sudden, there's a roving gang of bad guys, or the Chinese, or MS-13, or something, starts trying to shoot you. Are your neighbors, is that person you implicitly trust, are they going to join the firefight and try to protect you? Or are you on your own? It's a tough question. And everybody says, I trust them, they'll be here. And like I said, there's about 5 people in this world that I trust implicitly. Okay. The rest, they're kind of like friends. Fair weather friends. How many friends have you had in your life? My friends back in high school, my friends back in college. When's the last time you talked to them? They were fair weather friends. They were there for convenience. Okay. True friends, ones you trust, are ones that are going to be around for years and years and years and years. Family, I can say, say whatever you want. Let's just use an example. Oh, my cousin and I were really close when we were kids. Are you close anymore? No. Why? Inevitably, somebody broke the trust. You trusted they would be there for you, and suddenly they weren't. I mean, this is something to really think about. I mean, you trust your spouse. You should. If you don't trust your spouse, you got big problems, okay? Maybe you trust your kids, okay? Your friends, hopefully you can trust them. Your neighbors, maybe you can trust them as long as they're even like-minded, okay? But think about this. How much do you trust your bank? Used to be everybody. I put my money in the bank. I slept well at night. I knew no worries whatsoever that my money would be there in the morning. Do you trust your bank anymore? Probably not 100%, because the bank, you gave them the trust, but they didn't keep it. Okay. Here's a good question. How much do you trust the U.S. government, or any country's government, the Canadian government, the English government, the Australian government? How much do you trust it? Probably very little, because they haven't done anything to keep the trust that we gave them. Trust is given, but it's also earned, because a lot of us will blindly trust somebody until the rubber meets the road. And then we find out that that person that we expected was going to be there isn't. Pinball out.